The house was never just wood and stone to me. It was laughter echoing down the hallway at midnight, the smell of burnt toast in the morning, and arguments over the stupidest things. Paint colors, where to put the bookshelf, what kind of plants would survive in the windowsill. Every inch of it held a memory, a compromise, a layer of us. When we first bought the land, it was nothing but dry dirt and weeds, but you had this glint in your eyes. Like you could already see the kitchen we'd dance in, the bedroom we'd fall asleep in, the living room where our future would unfold. And I believed in it because I believed in you. We didn't have much, but we built it anyway, piece by piece. You laid the tiles yourself, remember? I painted the walls with colors you hated at first, but they grew on you. Every weekend, every dollar, every bruise on our hands became the foundation of something we swore would last forever. But forever has a funny way of collapsing when bills start piling up. It began small, missed utility payments, late mortgage notices, whispers of foreclosure. I kept thinking it was temporary. We both lost hours at work during the slowdown, but I told myself things would turn around. They didn't. And the house, our house, was the first thing on the chopping block. I remember sitting across from you at the dinner table, papers spread between us. You had this hollow look in your eyes, and I could feel your detachment before you even spoke. Maybe it's just a house, you said. Maybe it's not worth the fight. But I had to fight. For me, it wasn't just a house. It was the only thing I had left that felt like stability, like proof that our love, our sacrifices, had meant something. So I fought. I took on more hours, overnight shifts that turned my body into a ghost of itself. I sold my grandmother's ring, the one she left me in her will. I emptied my savings, then took out a personal loan. You didn't even ask where the money came from. You just stopped asking questions altogether. You started spending more time out, said you were meeting someone, about work. I wanted to ask questions, but I didn't. I was too tired, too desperate to keep the roof over our heads. 2 nights before the debt deadline, I remember collapsing on the bathroom floor. My phone buzzed with a reminder, payment due, final notice. I just stared at the screen, heart pounding. I didn't know if I had enough left in me. But I got up, I logged into my bank account, paid every last cent I had toward that mortgage. I saved the house. The confirmation email came at 2:17 a.m. I remember reading it 5 times before I cried. Not tears of joy, just relief. Exhausted, heavy relief. I had done it. I had kept us safe. I went to bed while you were still out. I didn't even hear you come home. Maybe you didn't. And in the morning, the house was quiet. Too quiet. I called your name. No answer. The bed beside me was untouched. The car was gone. At first I thought maybe you just stepped out. Coffee run. Early errand. Something. But then I walked into the kitchen and saw it, a folded piece of paper on the table. No envelope. Just a scrawl of handwriting I knew too well. I'm sorry. I sold the house. It's better this way. I stood there, bare feet on the cold tile, heart sinking through my chest. My fingers trembled as I read it again. And again. Sold. My stomach twisted. I ran to the cabinet where we kept important documents. The deed. The sale agreements. The bank records. Gone. You'd taken everything. And in the span of one night, after I had just saved it, you had sold it behind my back. I checked the front door. The spare key was gone too. Even the photos from the hallway had disappeared. It was like you were never there. I sat down at the table, next to the note, and felt something break inside of me. Not like a clean snap. Not something that could be mended. It was slower than that. A splitting that traveled quietly through bone and memory, until the only thing left was silence. You knew what this house meant to me. You knew how hard I fought for it. You knew I had nothing left. And still you left. And still, you sold it. I didn't move for a long time. The note sat there like a wound, its black ink still fresh, like it had been written just minutes before I found it. There was nothing more on the page. No explanation. No apology that meant anything. Just those 6 words that gutted me. I'm sorry. I sold the house. Sold it. Behind my back. I couldn't breathe. My lungs tried to pull in air, but it got stuck behind the disbelief. My eyes scanned the room for something, anything, to make it make sense. I ran to the front door. The driveway was empty. Your car gone. The coat you always left on the hook by the door, gone. The shoes you never remembered to put away, gone. I stumbled to the bedroom. Half the closet was empty. Not all of it. Just enough. Just the essentials. The drawers were opened and closed in a hurry, some half shut, Like you didn't care to leave it neat. You weren't packing for a trip. You were leaving. And then it hit me. The documents. The ownership papers. The signatures. You must have been planning this for weeks. Maybe months. While I was out killing myself to keep this house from being taken by the bank, you were working quietly, secretly, methodically, to sell it off. I sprinted to my laptop, heart racing, hands shaking, pulled up the property site, SOLD. The house was listed under a different agency. One I'd never even heard of, closed as of yesterday, a day before I made that final payment. You'd filed the paperwork just in time to override it. You knew how to time it. Maybe you had help. Maybe someone told you what to do, how to work around me, and I had been so busy saving the house, I never thought I'd need to save it from you. I sank to the floor. The screen still glowed in the darkened room, casting shadows on the walls we painted together. That soft teal you hated at first. Now someone else would paint over it, someone who didn't know what it cost to make this place a home. I pulled my knees to my chest. This was more than betrayal. This was erasure. You didn't just leave me, you erased every effort, every sacrifice, every late night I spent crying in the car, before coming inside, pretending I was okay. You didn't just take the house. You took the truth of what we built. I should have seen it sooner. The late nights, the hidden calls, the way your eyes wouldn't meet mine anymore. You stopped touching me the way you used to. Like I mattered. Like you saw me. You'd been slipping away one piece at a time, and I had been too busy fighting for us to realize that I was the only one still fighting. I reached for my phone. I don't know why. Maybe some pathetic part of me thought you'd pick up. That you'd say it was a mistake. That you were coming back. That you didn't mean it. That the house wasn't really gone. But your number was disconnected. Just like that. I stared at the screen until it blurred. My own reflection stared back at me in the black glass. Pale, exhausted, hollow-eyed. I thought back to all the things I'd sold to cover our debt. My laptop, my jewelry, the heirloom record player from my dad, my late mother's antique table. Things that had no price, not really. I gave up pieces of myself to preserve us. And you were selling me out behind closed doors the whole time. I stood up, numb. The floor felt cold beneath my feet, like it already belonged to someone else. Like I was trespassing in my own memories. I wandered into the guest room. Empty. I checked the garage. Your tools were gone. The storage boxes I labeled with Sharpie. Everything I thought we'd need for someday. All of it. Someday was gone. I walked out to the backyard, the grass still wet from the early morning dew. The swing you built from old rope and a wooden board still swayed in the breeze. I almost smiled, and then I didn't, because even that was no longer mine. I sat down in the grass, knees pulled up, arms around them. I let the quiet settle in. Not peaceful silence, emptiness, a vacuum where love used to be. And that's when it really hit me. You didn't just sell the house, you sold me out. You watched me break my back to save something you knew you'd already buried. That night, I didn't cry. Tears felt too easy, too light. No, I sat in the quiet, the kind that wraps around your bones and squeezes until you forget what warmth feels like. And I thought, if you can lie that easily, maybe you never loved me at all. Or worse, maybe you did, once, and chose not to anymore. It's strange how betrayal doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in slowly, like smoke through the cracks of a door, seeping into everything before you even realize the fire's already started. In the days that followed, I walked through the shell of the house like a ghost. Every creak in the floorboards felt like a memory, trying to pull me under. I should have been packing up, preparing for whoever bought it, but I couldn't bring myself to move. I wasn't ready to let go, not just of the house, but of the idea of you. The one I thought you were. I started retracing everything in my head, like a crime scene investigator, desperately trying to reconstruct the moment the first crack appeared. There was that time you stayed late, working, 3 nights in a row, even though your office had closed early due to budget cuts. There were the calls you used to answer in the bathroom with the door closed. The texts with no names, just initials. The password change on your laptop. The day you started keeping your phone face down on the table. I remember asking once, gently, "Is there something you're not telling me?" You kissed me on the forehead and said, "Don't be paranoid. I love you. We're just going through a rough patch." Rough patch. That was the name you gave the slow unraveling of our life. But now I see the truth. That wasn't a rough patch. That was the prelude to escape. I dug deeper. It started as a compulsion. I checked your email accounts, at least the ones I could still access. Some had been wiped clean. But one of them you must have forgotten. That's where I found the forwarded documents, signed agreements, realtor emails, a cash buyer, a quiet, fast sale. And then I saw something else, a reservation, 2 plane tickets, one way, your name and someone else's. A name I recognized, a name you once told me was just a friend. Funny how you used to say that with a little smirk, like it was a private joke. I used to believe you. I really did, but now I saw the photos in the trash folder. Pictures taken in another city, weeks before the house sold. You and her, hotel lobby, dinner, her hand on your chest, your smile wide, carefree. Like nothing back home existed anymore. Like I didn't. That's when the sadness turned into something darker. Rage, not loud, screaming rage. Not the kind that throws things and breaks mirrors. No, this was the quiet kind. The kind that simmers just below the skin. Cold and focused. The kind that waits. That plans. You didn't just walk out on me. You used me. Let me pay off the debts. Let me save the house just so you could sell it for a clean profit and run off into a new life with someone else. You got everything. A house I fought to save. A bank account you drained without lifting a finger. Even the sympathy from people who didn't know the truth. But now, I wasn't just the person you left behind. I was the person you underestimated. I started gathering every piece of evidence. I went to the county clerk's office, pulled public records, talked to the mortgage officer who'd been helping us. The one who looked stunned when I told her the house was gone. But you made the payment. She whispered, scanning her records. It should have reset the foreclosure process. It should have, but the legal loophole was already closed. You'd had help, legal advice, maybe even someone falsifying a few things along the way. Your new life, it was built on stolen pieces of mine. That's when something inside me shifted. I stopped being the broken one, stopped being the one trying to figure out where it all went wrong. Now I wanted something else. Not revenge. Not exactly. I didn't want to hurt you the way you hurt me. No, I wanted something more powerful than pain. I wanted clarity. Control, the power to stand up again and take something back, not from you, from myself. So I got to work. I opened a new account, changed my phone number, cut off everyone who still thought, maybe they'll come back. Maybe they made a mistake. I wasn't waiting for anything anymore. I filed a report with the Financial Crimes Unit. I knew the evidence might not be enough, but I wanted it on record, just in case. I contacted a lawyer. Quietly, carefully, we discussed options. There were some, not many, but enough to start. I started going to therapy. It hurt. Every word I said out loud felt like peeling off old skin. But I kept going. I told my story. To strangers, to lawyers, to myself, over and over, until it lost the power to destroy me. And then something amazing happened. I didn't need to burn down your world to heal mine. I just had to build something better than what you left behind. But even as I rebuilt, I never forgot. You made sure I wouldn't. You thought selling the house would break me. You thought the note would be enough to close the chapter. But you were wrong. You didn't write the ending. I did. Revenge is rarely loud. It's not always fireworks or firebombs. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's rebuilding quietly while the people who broke you think you're still in pieces. It took time. I didn't rush it. The old me would have. The version that begged to save a home while someone else was packing to leave. But she died the day I read that note. This new version of me, she moves different, speaks softer, strikes smarter. I found out where you moved. Not on purpose. At first, it started with an old friend of yours posting a picture. Champagne glasses, a city skyline. The caption said, "Congratulations to the happy couple on their new place. Love wins." I stared at the screen for a long time. The photo didn't surprise me. I already knew you ran off with her. What surprised me was the address tagged in the post. It wasn't just a new apartment. It was our money that paid the deposit. My debt that bought you that view. And suddenly, my quiet healing clicked into something sharper. You didn't just betray me. You stole my future, then posed with it like a trophy. So I got to work again. Not in anger, in strategy. I contacted an attorney, this time with every single document in hand. The emails you forgot to delete, the forged signature on the sale paperwork, the sudden transfer of funds from our joint account to a newly opened one under your name, done one day before the house was sold. We had a case. Fraud, misrepresentation, malicious intent. You thought you'd covered your tracks. But you were sloppy. You left fingerprints all over my life. My lawyer was ruthless. She loved the paper trail I brought her. You gave up everything to save the house, she said. Let's see what we can take back. And so we did. The lost it was quiet, discreet. I didn't blast it on social media. I didn't send you angry texts. I let the legal notices find their way into your new paradise. You didn't respond at first. Then you tried to settle. Then your new girlfriend messaged me. Like it was all just a misunderstanding. She said things like, "We didn't know you'd be so hurt. He just wanted a new start. You're better off." Better off, as if I hadn't scraped the marrow out of my own bones to give us a chance. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Your new start was built on fraud, and it was about to be publicly dismantled. You lost, in court, on paper, in silence. The judge awarded me a full financial judgment, all the profit from the house sale, a portion of the funds you stashed away, legal fees covered, your name flagged for financial misconduct, and the best part, your new apartment, the one with the pretty view, it had to go. Frozen assets, pending garnishment. Suddenly, the walls you built with stolen bricks started crumbling. But here's what I didn't expect. It didn't feel as sweet as I thought it would. Not at first. I thought revenge would taste like champagne and thunder. But it felt more like finishing the last page of a long, painful book. I walked out of the courthouse alone. No cameras, no audience. Just me and the sound of my own breath. And you. I never saw you again. Not in person. But I heard from someone you moved again. Quieter this time. Smaller place. No posts. No views. Good. I used the money to build a new life. Not flashy. Not perfect. But mine. I bought a small apartment on the edge of town. Nothing like the house we built. But it had windows that let in the morning light, and I filled it with books, music, and peace. Real peace. The kind that comes when you no longer carry someone else's weight. I planted herbs on the balcony, burned old letters, deleted voicemails. I painted my walls a soft green, the color I always wanted but you said was too dull. It isn't dull. It's calm. And sometimes, on quiet evenings, I look out the window and smile to myself. Not because I won, but because I survived. One afternoon, I drove by the old house. The new owners were already gutting it. The teal paint was gone. The swing in the back had been cut down. They were putting up a new fence, new porch, new everything. It looked like a stranger's home now. And for the first time, I was okay with that. I walked up the path, just to see it one more time. Just to be sure there was nothing left of me in there. There wasn't. But I left something anyway. A small note, folded neatly, tucked into the mailbox. Just in case someone still checks. It said, "You sold the bricks, but I carried the fire, and I am still burning."